Yo, my digital dash as I mash on the gas. Don't know where I'm going fast, but I'm going there. Stop at the club, forever show with some hoes in there. Shaking they ass, looking for players with dough to share. But that ain't me though. Before I trick on the pussy, baby, I'm out of the dough. If you was looking for savings, y'all, that I'm not your hero. More like a guide, I can take you where you wanted to. Look in my eye like you supposed to.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Mack Lessons Radio Show. And I am your gracious host. My name is Mr. Tariq Elite, a.k.a. Hot Poppy, a.k.a. Denzel Sausageton. That's what the ladies call me. Glad to have everybody tuning in, ready to chop up some very good game on today's show. Today's show is brought to you by MackLessons.com. That's where you can get so much good game. You can get all my pay-per-view specials. You can get my DVDs, live in New York, live in Atlanta, which will be out in a couple of weeks. You get great pay-per-view specials such as Black Feminism. You can get The Real Egypt. All that stuff is available at MackLessons.com. Also, you guys can join me on my official Facebook page, Facebook.com/Tariq Nasheed. Now, I was supposed to release the new book, well, the reprint of the old book, Black Players, this week. It was supposed to be released yesterday, but it has been pushed back a week. But the book is still coming. A lot of people emailed me and they were hitting me up on Facebook yesterday asking about the status of the book. The book was pushed back for a week. The book is still coming. Some real funny style shit has happened. Like with the book, for those who don't know, I acquired the rights for this book called Black Players, a book that was written in the early 1970s about the game. They interviewed a bunch of hustlers in the Bay Area. Very good book, and the game is hot, and you guys are going to love it when the book is released. Let me put on some Mack music. So ever since I've acquired the rights, the original publisher who put the book out in the 70s, they've come out of the woodworks and they tried to throw some legal documents and all this stuff, but all my stuff is Trump tight. I own the rights outright right now. So the original publisher, they've been doing little nitpicky stuff. So I've just been covering my track. So that's why it has taken just a little longer to put the book out. Because the thing is, man, when you start getting into buying book rights, that's getting out your lane. Because, you know, brothers aren't supposed to be doing shit like that. That's another part of the game. And let me tell y'all, man, there's a lot of money in book publishing and owning book rights and owning publishing rights. There's a lot of money in that they don't want y'all to know about. You feel what I'm saying? My cats who up on the game, they know the deal. But with the book publishing game, man, there's a lot of paper out there that cats don't even know about. Like when I did my book, The Art of Gold Digging, I actually sold the television rights to VH1, and I got a nice chunk of change for that. Then, because they didn't pick it up as a series, the rights were reverted back to me. So it was like free damn money, and I still own the rights to the book. So I'm like, well, shit, this is really the business. So that's another part of the game that they don't want you to know about. So when you have brothers buying rights from books that other people own, they don't like that too much. But my hustlers, y'all know what I'm talking about. So the original publisher, they've been doing little nitpicky stuff. The book was supposed to be out Tuesday. The book was ready. It was at my distributor. It was ready to go out. And last Friday, we were contacted saying that we can't use the same typeset that the original book used. I mean, they were looking for all types of loopholes to kind of mess with me. Hey, I'm a hustler, so I can handle that. So what we had to do, I had to get my editors and all that, and they had to literally retype the whole book in a different font because we can't make a direct copy of the original book. So we had to just create a whole new font and retype the whole book within a matter of days. So that's the thing that caused the book to be pushed back a week. which was some nitpicky sucker shit to me. But hey, it is what it is. Cats don't get mad about stuff like that. If you're going to be a hustler, charge that to the game and you keep on hustling. The book is still coming, people, so don't trip. I just want to let y'all know what's going on behind the scenes. Just real goofy, nitpicky shit. But the book is still coming. The book will be out by next week. I promise you that. We're getting it knocked out. I just had to literally get the whole thing retyped and re-edited. But the game is going to come, so don't even trip. But we're going to have some good game today. I digress. Just wanted to keep my players abreast of what was going on with the book Black Players. And also, I'm going to still have the author of the book, Richard Milner. He's going to be on the show. I was going to have the interview aired today, but I'm going to wait until the book is actually ready to go out. So most likely that'll be next week. But I digress. So today's show, you know what I want to talk about today? I want to talk about how players need to cover their tracks. And I'm going to give some tips on how players can cover their tracks. Now, this is for my tier 2 players. See, in the game, you have 3 levels of player. You have the tier 1 player, you have the tier 2 players, and you have the tier 3 players. See, the tier 1 players, those are the players they're just getting in the game. They're learning how to deal with one particular female. They're learning how to get out there and get their Mack on with women. That's the tier 1 player. The tier 2 player is the guy who's juggling a number of women. He has him a nice little stable of females that he's dealing with. That's the tier 2 player. Now, the tier 3 player is the guy who's very advanced with his game. He's the guy who has a number of women and they're bringing in tangibles. But for today, what I want to focus on the tier 2 player, because a lot of guys go through a player stage and they need to know the ins and outs of being a tier 2 player. You need to know how to handle the women you deal with. And again, you don't have to use deception. But you do want to be able to cover your tracks, because the thing is, being a tier 2 player, being in that player stage, when you deal with women, you can be as honest as possible, but there are women who are still going to be emotionally driven. And when women are emotionally driven, that's not going to stop them from trying to throw a wrench in your whole game. So you need to be able to cover your tracks from emotional women and women who don't really respect the game like they're supposed to. So first thing I suggest is that all players, if you have not seen Fatal Attraction, classic movie from the 1980s, and they play it on cable a lot, Fatal Attraction should be mandatory for all players. That gives you an extreme idea of how the game will go when you're dealing with your jump off or your side pieces, and what to expect when you deal with a psycho female and you don't really regulate the game like you're supposed to. Now, Fatal Attraction, there's a bunch of knockoff movies paying homage to Fatal Attraction, like that movie with Beyonce, Obsession. That was a knockoff of Fatal Attraction. Martin Lawrence did that movie Thin Line Between Love and Hate. That was kind of a knockoff of Fatal Attraction. But you guys really should see the OG version with Michael Douglas, because that movie scared the hell out of a lot of players back in the 80s. That made niggas get their minds right. That made motherfuckers work on their marriages back in the 80s. But the thing is, most men and all men go through a player stage, and if you're going to be in that player stage, you need to do it correctly and cover your tracks so you don't become jilted or jaded by the game. Now, again, when you deal with women, like I said, you want to be honest as possible. Now, what I'm going to teach, I'm going to give 5 basic tips on how to cover your tracks being a player. And again, now some of this might sound a little manipulative, but it's manipulative so you don't really hurt nobody's feelings. It's manipulative so that you can cover your tracks and you're not really trying to hurt or deceive anybody, but you don't want to leave any kind of bad blood, because when you're dealing with a bunch of different women, again, you don't want to rub anybody the wrong way. You don't want to give anybody reason to have some type of vendetta out against you, especially because of the social networking age that we're in. People are so quick to put your business out there, and you want to have a pretty cool rep. You have the internet, drive snitching, girls getting book deals for snitching on cats. So you really want to cover your tracks and be very diplomatic with the way you play the game now. Even back in the day, you wanted to have some type of diplomacy with being a player. So you really want to be diplomatic with the game. especially now.